of the special Navaratri online retreat. So let us get started. I request all of you to make sure that your cameras are switched off till Swamiji finishes. Now I request Swamiji to kindly start today's session.
Om Amriteshwarye Namah. Om Amriteshwarye Namah. Om Amriteshwarye Namah. So today is day 2 of our special Navaratri online retreat. But before we start, I would like to play a video which I had promised you yesterday. So I got this video somehow. This is a very, very old video. And this video was actually, most of it was filmed by Swami Paramatmananda Ji, who's one of the senior most Western disciples of Amma. And Swamiji used to, take out his camera and somehow stealthily try to take pictures and videos of Amma so that, it could be useful for us later on. And these are some very, very beautiful videos, an asset, definitely. So I'll play that video for all of you first, and then we'll go on to the rest of the session.
Ananda Veethi Nudande Amma Aadi Rasichu Nadanuru Aadi Rasichu Nadanuru Ananda Veethi Nudande Amma Aadi Rasichu Nadanuru ആനിമേഷങ്ങളിൽ രാഗാദിവൈരികൾ ഓടിയൊളിച്ചതൻ ഗൗഹരത്തിൽ ഓടിയൊളിച്ചതൻ ഗൗഹരത്തിൽ പൊൻകരവല്ലരി യാരെന്നറുകയും അമ്മ തലോടു എന്റെ ജീവിതം അമ്മയ്ക്കുന്നു നമ്രശിരസ്കയാൽ നിന്നു നമ്രശിരസ്കയാൽ നിന്നു ആനന്ദവീഥിയിലൂടെ ആത്മാവ് ആടിരസിച്ചു നടന്നു ആടിരസിച്ചു നടന്നു ആനിമീക്ഷങ്ങളിൽ രാഗാദിവൈരികൾ ഓടിയൊളിച്ചതൻ ഗൗഹരത്തിൽ ഓടിയൊളിച്ചതൻ ഗൗഹരത്തിൽ.
This is the video from almost 40 years back. And these were the earlier days of ashram. But you can see the intensity of devotion when Amma is calling out to the Devi. And this is in her own voice when Amma is singing Ananda Veethi. Ananda Veethi is her outpouring of devotion and also description of her experience, her divine vision of the Divine Mother, Devi. And the last paragraph which you just heard was the same one which I told you yesterday, where Amma says that the Divine Mother caressed her, and then from that day onwards she became one with the Divine Mother, and she bowed down to the Divine Mother and said that, let thy will be done. And she became one, basically. I mean, this is how masters and Mahatmas show to the rest of the world how we should have the longing for the truth, how we should have longing for the divine, how we should have longing for our Ishta Devata. So far, so good. Now, I think we will go on directly to today's topic. We will go into the crux of what Navaratri is, and especially we will go into the crux of Durga Saptashati, because that is one of the most important texts of the worship of Shakti or the Divine Mother. So as I told you yesterday, in Shakta tradition, Devi is everything. Devi is the goddess. She is everything. She is formless and she is also with form. She is birthless. She is deathless. That is why we don't say that Devi was born. We only say Devi appeared. In Sanskrit, there are beautiful, better words. In English, for the lack of words, we say appeared, but actually it is pradurbhav in Sanskrit, or we can say prakatya. So it is not as if Devi is taken birth. It's just an appearance, a manifestation rather. And then again, Devi goes into unmanifested state. And during this Navaratri, these 9 days, we worship Devi in various forms, as all of you know. Durga is worshipped for good health and success. Mahalakshmi is worshipped for wealth, and Saraswati is worshipped for knowledge. This is a common understanding, because for achieving any success, material, especially material success, we need health, we need wealth, and we need knowledge. But the same applies to even on the spiritual realm. We need health at the mental level, we need wealth at the intellectual level, and we also need the knowledge. I remember a joke. This is a joke I heard long back. I think the joke goes something like, the Narada was somewhere roaming in the heavens, and he comes across Shiva, Vishnu and Brahma carrying some placards. And when he goes to inquire what is happening, he sees the placards which says, we want job. So Narada asks them, what happened? Why are you protesting like this? So they say, see, we are out of jobs. We don't have any jobs. So Narada is quite astonished, and he asks them, why are you out of jobs? What happened? They say that Trimurtis, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, they say, see, the Department of Finance has been taken over by Lakshmi. And the Department of Health has been taken over by Parvati or Durga. And the Department of Education has been taken over by Saraswati. These are the three most important departments as far as we are concerned. And these three women have taken over these three departments. We have nothing to do. That is why you find Shiva meditating, and Vishnu is sleeping, and Brahma is just sitting on the lotus. So this is just a joke. Don't take it too literally. But this shows also how much importance, respect, and dignity we have always given to the woman, because we have seen woman at the highest pedestal of the mother. Anyway, coming back to the topic. So as we saw earlier, because Devi is everything, she is both knowledge as well as ignorance. I repeat, she is both knowledge as well as ignorance. And she is also the underlying supreme truth. Because knowledge and ignorance is a duality. She is also non-dual. She is also the substratum of that supreme truth, on which knowledge and ignorance are two manifestations. And this entire universe is nothing but a cosmic play of that divine power. So as far as possible, we should try to see the mother, the divine Devi, in everything, and love and serve everyone equally. These are Amma's words. Because Devi, as I said yesterday also, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. She is in each and every thing, person, object, anything that you can fathom. She is everywhere. Devi is both the illusory power, the Maya, as well as the one who frees us from that Maya, that illusion. In fact, I remember Amma also says that at an individual level, Maya is nothing other than our own mind. It is not an outer force at an individual level. So there is a samashti perspective, there is a vyashti perspective, there is a universal perspective, and then there is an individual perspective. As far as the individual perspective is concerned, Maya is nothing other than our own mind, because it is a root of our mind. And mind, as they say, is the cause of bondage as well as liberation. That's what we say about Maya also. Maya is the cause of bondage, Maya is the cause of liberation. So at an individual level, we should understand Maya as mind, not like an outer force. But of course, at a universal level, it is the Prakriti, it is the Mahamaya, which is manifesting in so many names and forms, Nama Rupa. The word Navaratri, if you look at the words which form this, Nava and Ratri. So Nava, Ratri literally means 9 nights. And what it signifies is that our current condition is like as if we are living in night, in darkness, the darkness of ignorance, not a literal darkness, the darkness of ignorance. And Navaratri Puja, these 9 days, they signify the removal of this internal darkness and then the dawning of that light of knowledge. There is another meaning also to Navaratri. The word Navam can also be interpreted as new. New. So, Navaratri would mean new night. So when all the sins, all the papas, when all the negative tendencies of the mind are washed away, we get a new birth. We are born again. We then understand that this body is actually the abode of the Devi, the Parashakti, the supreme power. And we experience everything with a totally new vision. As far as the 10th day is concerned, the Vijayadashmi, that signifies our victory over our lower tendencies, the negative tendencies, and the realization of our true divine nature. Basically, when we transcend the finite and realize our infinite nature. In other words, we can also say that Navaratri, to summarize it, we can say Navaratri is basically the defeat of everything that makes us feel or think that we are a limited body-mind complex. And Vijayadashmi represents that knowledge, that victory over this ignorance, when we are able to realize that we are the self, we are the Atma that pervades this whole world. And that same Atma is Devi. We are one with Devi, which pervades this whole world. So these 9 days, they signify that steps of a seeker, steps of a sadhaka to end the ignorance. And 10th day is when it signifies the victory over those negative tendencies. The 10th day is also called Vidyarambham. This is the day when the little children get initiated into Vidya, into writing, for example, letters and all. Amma does this every Vijayadashmi. She takes small children in her lap and makes them write. So, Vidyarambham it is called. Vidya Arambham means beginning of Vidya. Because the 9 days, we have taken the steps, done the spiritual practices to overcome that ignorance, to overcome the avidya. That is why on the 10th day, we say Vidyarambham. Vidyarambham meaning the beginning of the real knowledge. And actually on this day, even the scholars write on we usually use rice or we write on the ground. Amma makes us write. We write Om Hari Shri Ganapataye Namah. So it marks a rebirth as a beginner, a humility, an attitude of humility. It also signifies an attitude of humility. when no matter how learned you are, no matter how knowledgeable you are, you say that I don't know anything. You start with a very, very humble attitude and you start writing the letters again. So it denotes enthusiasm, it denotes patience, and it also denotes humility. So this is quick nutshell of what Navaratri and Vijayadashmi is all about. Now, let's come to Durga Saptashati. Now, this is the most important part which I want to cover in this retreat. With whatever time we have, we will try to see how much we can cover. Hopefully, I will be able to cover most of the things with Amma's grace, with the grace of Divine Mother. So, Durga Saptashati is also called by two more names, which I told yesterday also. One is Devi Mahatmyam and one is Shatachandi. So, in North India, mostly we call it Durga Saptashati. But in South India, most of the places, if you go, you will hear mostly Devi Mahatmyam. That is how it is known there. And if you go towards East, West Bengal, Calcutta, etc., there they call it Shatachandi. But it's all referring to the same thing. There is absolutely no difference. This text contains 700 verses, which are arranged into 13 chapters. And these 13 chapters are arranged into 3 episodes, or you can say sections. There is a Prathama Charitam, Madhyama Charitam, and Uttara Charitam. These 3 episodes. So we will come to that later. And the whole thing starts with the narration where sage Markandeya, Rishi Markandeya, is telling the story about Savarni Manu. Savarni Manu is basically the 8th Manu in this Manvantara. And as most of you know, in Sanatana Dharma, time is not linear, unlike in Semitic religions or Abrahamic religions. Time is cyclic. And time starts and then it goes all the way till the Manvantara. And then there is a Pralaya. There is a dissolution of the entire creation. And then again, creation. So it's all cyclic. So in the 8th Manvantara, how Shavani Manu was born, it is the story of that. So these 3 parts, which I told you earlier, the 3 episodes in which these 13 chapters are divided, they are very, very important. And it is said that if someone is not able to read and study all the 13 chapters or all the 3 charitam, then just by reading the second charitam, the second episode, the person can get the benefit of the whole Durga Saptashati. So the second charitam is given a lot of importance. We will come to that, why, the inner meaning of that. The other important texts of Shakta tradition, or the Divine Mother tradition, you can say, are Devi Bhagavad Purana and Devi Upanishad, which I told you yesterday also. So in the first episode, the Prathama Charitam contains chapter 1 of the Devi Mahatmyam, or the Durga Saptashati. The second Charitam, the Madhyama Charitam, it contains chapter 2, 3 and 4. And then the last episode, the Uttara Charitam, it contains chapter 5 to 13. So it is not evenly distributed, but it's distributed according to a certain concept, which we'll come to later. So Devi Mahatmyam basically talks about Devi and how Devi kills different asuras. Right? For example, in the first episode, Devi is depicted in the form of Mahamaya. So with Devi's help, Lord Vishnu kills two demons, Madhu and Kaitaba. So here Devi is depicted as Mahakali. And Amma often says that Mahakali represents the annihilating power of time, that which destroys everything that is impermanent. Annihilating power of time. And here Kali also represents, it's a Tamoguni Kali, Tamoguna. But mind you, you will see in some places there's a wrong interpretation of this. It does not mean that Kali is Tamoguni. No, that would be wrong to say that. Because the Devi is beyond all gunas, all the three gunas. What Tamoguni Kali represents is the aspect of Devi which helps us to come out of the Tamoguna. Tamoguna, as I told yesterday, it is the quality which makes us lazy, which causes inertia, which causes pramadam. In Sanskrit we say pramadam. You feel very lazy, you don't feel like doing anything. Not just physically, mentally also. You always postpone things to tomorrow, right? You don't do what is important to do in life. You're only focusing on the periphery and not on the core. So that tamoguna, to drive that out, the Devi manifests as Tamoguni Kali, so that she can wake us out of the deep slumber. Kali comes in a Tamoguni form. Then is the Madhyam Charitam, the middle episode of the Devi Mahatmyam, on the Durga Saptashati, chapters 2 to 4. Here Durga is in the avatar of Mahalakshmi. The goddess is in the form of Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi is also called Durga. Now here, the Devi kills many demons, and one of the most famous and important demon which Devi kills is called Mahishasura. And most of the pictures and idols and symbols that we see around for Navaratri, you see the idols where Devi is killing somebody. That is the Mahishasura. That is the most famous. In Calcutta also, Durga Puja, big idols are created, and then later it is submerged into water on the 10th day. You will see it all around India. So Durga or Mahalakshmi represents Rajoguna, activity, passion. And again, mind you, it does not mean that Lakshmi or Durga is affected by the Rajoguna. No. It helps the seeker or the sadhak to go beyond Rajoguna and enter into the Sattva-guna. The divine qualities are needed for this. And these are the qualities which are bestowed upon as grace by the Devi. What are those qualities? Those qualities are love, compassion, kindness, charity, forgiveness, patience, etc. So, before Devi gives these as her grace, before she bestows these qualities on us, she does a lot of cleaning work. Just like you putting a seed or sowing a seed in the field, you need to first clean the place. You need to clean out all the weeds, and then only you can put the new seeds. So that is what Durga does. The Durga is the fierce form. She makes us clean, and then with the grace of Mahalakshmi, these divine qualities, we are given these divine qualities by Devi. In Bhagavad Gita, if you remember, Bhagavan Krishna also talks about Daivi Sampat and Asuri Sampat. So these qualities comes under Daivi Sampat. So Devi makes us clean of Asuri Sampat, Asuri qualities, and gives us divine qualities, so that we can move into the next stage where we become fit to receive the knowledge, the self-knowledge. And that is what the final episode, the Uttara Charitam of Durga Saptashati represents, where Devi is killing the demons Shumba and Nishumba primarily. There are many others. There are Chandamunda, There is Rakta Bija. Rakta Bija is also one of the primary demons. So Devi is killing all of them. And there is mention of Parvati there. And then Kali again comes. We'll see that if we get time. But I don't think we'll be able to go into the third Charitam this time. But at least the first two Charitams I will try to cover. And all these demons that we see in this whole Durga Saptashati, these actually represent the negative tendencies or the vrittis. The right technical word for it is vritti. These represent the vrittis in our mind. And how we can overcome these negative tendencies is the whole esoteric significance of Durga Saptashati. So, all the negative traits, vices that plague the human mind or the society today, this is what is represented by these demons. And the triumph of Devi over these demons, it illustrates the victory of virtue over vice, wisdom over ignorance, or you can say self-control, the victory of self-control over the desires. So this is a very, very intricate portrayal of demons in a story, in the form of a story in Durga Saptashati. But it offers very profound spiritual insights. If we understand the symbolism within the Durga Saptashati, it can help us to go deeper into our spiritual practices or sadhana. It can also be used as a tool for self-improvement. Even if your laksha or your goal may not be enlightenment or self-realization, but even then, even at the ethical or the moral ground, it will help you for self-improvement. So, this whole Durga Saptashati, as I told earlier, it's a story being told by sage Markandeya. But as we will see, there is a story within a story. And then there is a story within that. So it goes on and on. You know, like most of the Puranas in India, in Bharat, most of the Puranas, they have this style. There's a story between the story and the story in the story. And sometimes it can go to up to 5-6 levels. That is what makes it very interesting. But it is very important to keep one thing in mind. We should not take these stories as mere stories. You know, if we just read Durga Saptashati, or for that matter, any Purana, and just remember it as a story, it will be just like watching a movie or reading a comic book. It's not going to be of any use. I've seen people not ridiculing anybody. Unfortunately, people just get stuck at the outer observances. I've seen people doing Parayanam or chanting of Durga Saptashati. Sometimes they chant 10 times a day, sometimes more than that, thinking that some magic is going to happen and all their problems are going to vanish. What is important is to understand the inner significance, to understand what the scripture is pointing at. Only then it will benefit us in our life. That is very, very important. If we are not able to do that, then I think we have kind of not done justice to the scripture. Some people say that, you know, if you do the chanting of Durga Saptashati, all your desires will come true. I think it is a very, very wrong way of looking at the scripture. If that is the case, you know, suppose a dacoit, a thief, or a murderer starts chanting Durga Saptashati, and he wants, the whole desire is basically his manokamana. His desire is that he wants to break into the bank and steal all the money, or he wants to kill somebody. So should Durga Saptashati help him? Absolutely not. So it is very wrong to see that kind of a goal as the only goal for reading Durga Saptashati or doing Upasana of Durga. That is not the goal. Absolutely not the goal. It is a plague that has spread in our society. It's a utilitarian approach, unfortunately. What can I get from Devi at a material level to satisfy my desires, to satisfy my wants, my needs? That is a very wrong way to look at Durga Saptashati. Of course, the Divine Mother can fulfill our material needs also. There is nothing wrong in asking it. But what is important is whether what we are asking is dharmic or not, whether it is in line with our dharma. Dharma meaning not religion like a Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, not like that. What is our dharma means what is our duty. In whatever field of life, whatever role we are playing in our life, in that role, what is important. So if our desires are in line with that, and especially if our desire is in line with the Manushya Dharma, because our highest Dharma is the Manushya Dharma. All other dharmas, all other duties are secondary. Our duty as a father, our duty as a husband, our duty as a mother, our duty as a sister, our duty as an officer, our duty as an employee, these are secondary. The primary is Manushya Dharma, our duty as a human being. So if our desires are in line with that, then definitely Devi will help us. There is a beautiful Subhashitam which says, Ahar nidra bhaya maithunam cha samanyam etat pashubhi narana dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharmen hina pashubhi samana. Which means that ahar, which means food, nidra, sleep, bhaya, fear, maithunam, sex, progeny. So anything and everything that is related to these four things. What are those four things? Food, sleep, fear. Fear meaning trying to protect ourselves, our own protection. And fourth is progeny, sex. Anything that is related to these four things. This is very common to animals as well as humans. There is nothing special that humans have in this regard. But then the Subhashitam says, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho. Dharmen hina pashubhi samana. But dharma, our Manushya Dharma, is the most unique among all these. And a person who is not able to live life according to Manushya Dharma, the duty of a human being, his or her life is just like the life of an animal. That is the conclusion of this. So here also, when we are reading such things, or we come across these things that by reading Durga Saptashati all your desires will be fulfilled, I think we should keep in mind that here it is not about material desires only. It's not about selfish desires. It is about the desires which can take you close to Devi, which can take you to a state where you realize your oneness with the divine. So that is why it is important when we read such scriptures, especially Puranas, we need to have good understanding of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras, because these are the Prasthanatrayi. This is called Prasthanatrayi, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads and Brahma Sutras, because they are the guiding light of how these Puranas should be interpreted. Otherwise, we will just read these Puranas as story and we will interpret them in a very, very selfish and immoral way. That is not what it is meant for. To be able to interpret those Puranas, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads, Brahma Sutras is very important. And of course, the grace of the Guru and the knowledge from the Guru is absolutely important. So the main goal of Durga Saptashati is spiritual knowledge, nothing else. Spiritual knowledge and ultimately the freedom, the moksha. And we must also remember that even though Devi is beyond the gunas, we as spiritual seekers need good qualities. We cannot say that I am also beyond gunas. As long as this body is there, as long as we are in the human body, this struggle with our Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Sattoguna will always be there. And we have to be always on the vigil, always, till the last breath of our life. Nobody can ever say that now I am beyond the gunas. As long as you are embodied in this human body, you have to be vigilant. Because Maya is here in this body. It's not out somewhere else. It's here, right here. So we have to be very careful, absolutely careful. Just because you go to temple or you have chanted Lalita Sahasranams every day for a month, or you are living in an ashram, does not mean that you go beyond Maya. Going beyond Maya actually means understanding Maya. Understanding Maya. And then surrendering yourself to the higher level, higher divine will, where your desires are in alignment with the divine. Your desires are not influenced by your own Rajoguna, Sattoguna and Tamoguna. So that is how you go beyond the gunas. That is why it is told that one must surrender to the Guru or to the scriptures. Because the Guru or the scriptures, the Shruti, is in line with the highest. Then there is no selfish interest in whatever you are doing. That is how you go beyond the gunas. But as far as a sadhak is concerned, till the end of this body, one must be vigilant. And that is what Durga Saptashati teaches us. Because if you see in the whole Durga Saptashati, the Devi is killing the demons. Right? The Devi is everywhere killing the demons. And year after year, we celebrate the same festival again and again. Because everything in this nature is cyclic. You kill these demons, you kill these negative tendencies, they will again spring up. And you have to keep fighting this war. This war represents our life. That is why both Bhagavad Gita as well as Durga Saptashati, if you look at the background of these two scriptures, there is war happening. In Bhagavad Gita, there is Mahabharata war. And in Devi Mahatmyam or Durga Saptashati also, there is war all the time between Devi and the Asuras. So this fighting, this war, where you are Arjuna, the warrior, this fighting, this war is a continuous process. Except avatars like Amma, everybody else who is in a human body, they have to keep fighting this war. Whether we are fighting this war with ego at the center, or whether we are fighting this war with self or guru or the spiritual knowledge at the center. That is what makes us Asura, or that is what makes us Devi. Devi is also not separate from us. Asura is also not separate from us.